Spoilers! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! A spoiler alert as we're going to be reviewing Kong Skull Island.
King Kong ain't got shit on me!
Nate, what did you reckon?
I heard that it was a pretty good movie, but it wasn't great, and therefore I went in with pretty low expectations and actually came out of it really liking it. Obviously not going to win an Oscar, but I really enjoyed it. There was obviously some pretty big flaws with it, but overall I was very happy with it. What about yourself? Initial thoughts?
I just thought it's going to be too cheesy, and that's not what Kong needs. I kind of went in a bit like you, to be fair, mate, with the same sort of, do you know what? I'm not expecting it to be amazing, so let's just see what it comes out with. So yeah, that was kind of my thoughts going into it.
Yeah, so we might as well talk a little bit about the movie itself. It basically starts off, well, the initial scene is two fighter pilots, one from Japan and one from America, shot down and land on this island from World War One, and then they end up fighting on the beach, and they head off to the jungle and they fight, and that's where they get interrupted by the big man himself, and that's sort of the start of the movie. Then it jumps forward to the 1971, the Vietnam War.
Yep.
And John Goodman is putting together a team to go and visit this island that they've finally discovered in the Pacific, and they put together a bunch of mercenaries led by Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson's the photographer, and then they get the army guys in with Samuel Jackson and a bunch of others, and then they all get into helicopters and fly to this island, and that's where it starts basically, and it happens pretty quick from opening to when they get to Skull Island, unlike the Peter Jackson version. So that was one of the things I did like about it a lot, was how quick it moved.
Agreed. I think, well, like you just mentioned, the opening scenes, you got your first glimpse of Kong, didn't you? And I kind of, think about the previous one, and wasn't it about like an hour and in or something, and we still hadn't seen him?
Yeah, it was a really long time.
It was something like that, wasn't it? It was about that. So yeah, I agree. I think it started off well. I thought the story was interesting, and like you said, how they kind of intertwined a couple of wars over there. Obviously, there's a big ensemble cast, some massive names in it. As you've just mentioned, kind of Samuel Jackson, John Goodman, John Ortiz, Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson's kind of done some bits and pieces. Got Corey Hawkins, obviously from the new 24 Legacy, in there as well. So they really went to town on it. And yeah, I enjoyed that you got a bit of Kong action straight away. I thought that was one of the highlights for me. And it was kind of, even the storyline as they built it up, as because like you said, John Goodman building the team together, and he basically had to go and ask permission from, I think it was the government or something like that, to then fly over there. That kind of went quite quick as well, but not too quick as if to say, they rushed it. But it was nice. It was like, right, that's the story, that's where we're at, that's why we're going to the island. Now let's just get there and get the action going. Yeah,
basically. And then once the action starts, it's really good. Like anything. So basically, they end up flying over the island, dropping their bombs for whatever reason. I can't really understand why, to this point, why they drop bombs. But anyway...
I know why.
Let's hear
because the bombs they dropped were meant to go into the ground, and that's when they could then start checking the density of the ground, and that's what Corey Hawkins was looking at on the screen. That's why they were dropping bombs.
The hollow Earth theory or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was it. Yes, that's why they were dropping them. But yeah, it was a bit random. But I also think John Goodman, they kind of alluded to it during the film as well, that he knew that actually by dropping bombs it was going to awaken this beast.
Yeah, and awaken the beast it did. And then next thing you know, all these helicopters are getting trees thrown at them, and Kong's just tearing up some shit. Like anything with Kong in it was really good for me. And then and I think he was in it enough for me, and the problems... No, I'll keep on going with the good stuff. No, the good stuff is anything with Kong in it was pretty good, and the visual effects were pretty amazing. What were they called? The skull suckers or stalkers,
Skull crawlers.
crawlers.
Yeah, skull crawlers.
They were well done. They had like that. They were the big bad on the island, but for some reason always lived underground because Kong was there to protect the island and stuff. And I thought all that worked well. Yeah. And then the problems that what did you like about it?
Yeah. Pretty much exactly the same. I thought the Kong pieces were awesome. I thought his character development, as silly as it sounds from a CGI point of view, because that's what he is, he's not a real character, but I thought his character development was excellent because you got to see him. He was like this big, badass mofo as he was cleaning shot with the helicopters, which I thought was a brilliant scene. A bit mental, though, because if I was in a helicopter, I would definitely just be flying away. I wouldn't be going near him. I'd be trying to fly away, but... Yeah, it just didn't make sense. Yeah, for them to take out the whole army, you'd kind of go, yeah, we ain't going to win this. Let's just fall back a little bit. But no, they went for it. But no, so you got to see him and you thought, wow, is he just going to clean shot? But then as the story kind of progressed and stuff, you saw that he was kind of the saviour of the island. He had his own, the tribe that was on the island, that was their king and things. And he was actually, everything he was doing was to protect the island itself and his home. So you kind of got why he did that to begin with. I think one of the interesting scenes for me is as well, and it's kind of a bit reminiscent of the Jurassic Park. So remember in the first one where the Triceratops was dying, and the woman goes over and she's looking at it and trying to, and I kind of got the same kind of feel when Brie Larson's character finds that massive buffalo trapped under the helicopter. Yeah. So she kind of, all we'd seen is just destruction from these big, massive animals because you'd had Kong. I think the spider scene had already been by that point as well. Yeah. So it was kind of just a way, and it was just so nice that she went over to try and then save him. And then the next thing you're greeted by Kong, where I don't know how Kong crept up on her. She was kind of like surprised he was right next. I was thinking I'd be hearing that guy from bloody 100 mile away.
Stealthy.
But yeah, and then he then obviously that's when you kind of start seeing him for the good, because then he just lifts the helicopter up to save the buffalo and kind of just has the eye contact with the woman, and she kind of just goes to see his compassion as if to go, actually, he's a good guy. He's misunderstood. We just need to leave him alone. It's his home. Yeah. So I thought that was really good. So like I said, the character development from someone that wasn't actually a character and doesn't actually speak, I thought was really good. Yeah, and all the action scenes I think with Kong were excellent. I thought it was done very, very well from a CGI point of view.
Yeah, start to finish, Kong and all the action was great. My negatives now.
Here we go. He's been waiting for it. I've got a few.
Like we've talked about, it's a pretty bloody great cast. It's got Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, John C. Reilly, Samuel L. Jackson, John Goodman. But you did not give a shit about any of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like when they... I won't say what order they get picked off in, but a few of them die. But you don't care. There's no feeling towards the characters. You know that they're just to be picked off and die, and it was just so depressing. Like, you needed to, like in Jurassic Park, like you were mentioning, when a character died, you felt something. Like, it was like, oh, bugger, or okay, that happened and stuff. But in this, it was just like, it was like watching a video game and people were just dying. You didn't care, and some of the lines that they had were bloody ridiculous.
Yeah, so my biggest... I agree exactly. I've got two big gripes with it. I think Tom Hiddleston, let's talk about him for a second. I thought his opening part, he was kind of cleaning a bit of shop, wasn't he? And he was kind of made out to be this absolute demon of a bit of a warrior sort of thing. And yeah, and then after that, I just got nothing from him. I just didn't see him being pointless. It wasn't like he was like this big leader and he started to like come up with great plans to take out the monsters and stuff. I don't know, he just sort of lacked something for me. I thought he was going to be like the big star. I kind of didn't get anything from him. Agree what he's saying about, kind of didn't really care about the other characters.
Yeah, and like it was meant to be this awesome like tracker and bushman, and he couldn't even remember where he came from. Like at one point they leave this boat to go and catch up with the rest of the army guys, and then they leave them again, and he couldn't find his way back to that boat, so he had to climb up a hill. Yeah. It was like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
No.
It didn't make sense, did it?
No,
it didn't make sense at all.
Make sense at all. And Brie Larson, her facial expressions, like she was in that movie The Room, I think it's called. And,
yeah.
And she was great in that. And in this, she's left to just pulling random faces and playing with
Taking
Kong's face and
photos.
stuff. Yeah, and it's like waste. Like, why, if you're going to have such a small part, give it to someone that's unknown. Like, it's not necessary to have like Brie Larson or any of these great actors in this movie.
Yeah. And the thing is, I said to my mate as I was watching it, she was obviously the photographer, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So there she is in the helicopter taking some photos. As soon as Kong starts cleaning some shop and she sees him in the distance, she doesn't take any photos. the next, I know she's going to be shocked at the scene, but it's in a bloody hand, surely. As a professional photographer, you'd be shocked for a second and be like, I need to get this on camera. I think the next time I saw her taking photos was when she's taking photos of the bloody tribe.
Yeah.
I was thinking, well, I don't need photos of that. And that scene I kind of didn't need at all. Like, what was the point in that? I just want to see Kong clean some shop. I don't need to see her, getting together as a group. I don't need to see that.
Didn't need it at all.
Yeah.
And Samuel L. Jackson's motivations just were...
Yeah. I just didn't get him at all. I get he'd be pissed because Kong cleaned a bit of shop on his...
other men. But
on his men. But then it was just that whole crew set. And that was a bit of a lack of storyline for me. It was too predictable from that point of view. You knew that he wasn't trying to get back to the helicopter or whatever it was, the other side of the island. All he ever wanted to do was go and get Kong and have this kind of face-off with him and try and construct the big massive bombs that he did. And obviously when he took down Kong with the fire, it was quite a clever idea, to be fair. To try and burn him and stuff like that. Great idea.
And looked amazing.
Yeah, it did. And it was a really good scene where kind of you just had Samuel L. Jackson's silhouette watching in the background as then like Kong fell down onto the floor. I thought that was quite a nice direction scene. And they did a couple of those where they had like the actor in the forefront, but then in the background you kind of had like the big massive Kong, either face or whatever it was. So I thought that was quite clever. But yeah, it was just got a bit annoying, the Samuel L. Jackson one, because surely the army guys would have turned against... I know he was their general, but in that scenario, you turn against him and go, I ain't going anywhere near him, mate. I'll see you later. And they should have done that bit where they turn their guns at him sooner. I'd just be like, no chance. Absolutely no way.
Yeah, like if anybody... I'm not saying... Anyone could have done anything to Samuel L. Jackson and stopped it straight away. And after they realised he was a bit nuts and lost the plot a little bit, they should have just ended it there. But... the biggest disappointment for me was John Goodman.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was rubbish, wasn't he?
It was just pointless. Like, you know how much I liked 10 Cloverfield Lane because of basically his performance. And I thought he was going to have such a bigger role in this and he was going to work out like what's going on the island and stuff. And he basically just goes there, takes a couple of pictures and then gets eaten.
Yeah, his death is pointless. It's just, and I even turned to my mate at the time and I just said, "Well, that was random."
Yeah,
literally, and it was such a quick death. Like, just went down, boom, gone.
Yeah,
and that was it. And it was like, oh, John Goodman's character's not in it anymore. What a waste of time.
Yeah, there was a lot of that going on, and yeah, very. But like I said, going into it, my expectations were quite low, and I tell you, all the scenes with Kong fighting the other skull crawlers and whatnot made up for me. Like, they were so good to watch and it was entertaining, and I came out of this movie actually really enjoyed it.
Can I just mention one last thing that I found negative?
Yeah, feel free.
John C. Reilly. He was a big issue. I like it, John C. Reilly, but not in that context. So I mentioned it earlier. The comedy lines just didn't need them, and they kind of felt wrong in this big disaster movie. And for me, they tried to go down a Marvel route too much because they had obviously all the action and they had like the big storyline and the team like trying to go out and Kong obviously going after the main baddie. But then they just added in the humour. I mean, they even had a post-credit scene as well. Did you stay for that?
Yeah, I did, and it was kind of like I heard that I'd really stay for this post-credit scene. It's really good, and then I did. And I was like, I bloody knew all that anyway.
Yeah, there's nothing new. It wasn't even like you got to see. Big spoiler. Obviously, you didn't get to see Godzilla or in it. You just heard his roar at the end. For me, that just meant it looked like I had a bit of too much of a Marvel theme that I didn't need. I didn't need the comedy lines in there. That for me was a bit frustrating.
They fell flat. The only thing that you got out of the post-credit scene was that the monster that they're going to end up fighting, Kong and Godzilla together, I reckon, would be that three-headed Hydra-looking monster that you saw in the post-credit scene.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, at some point it's going to wake up and there's going to be a tag team, I reckon, Kong and Godzilla versus whatever that monster's called.
Yeah, because obviously that film's coming out. I think it's due for a 2020 release. Do you think it's going to be a bit like a Batman Superman-y feel, where actually, so they first start going against each other, Kong versus Godzilla, kind of like Batman versus Superman, and then they, like you just said, in the end they then tag team up to then take out the bigger monster.
Yeah, they're going to realise that they've got the same mum's name and stuff, and then they're going to and then they're going to end up fighting.
I think Kong and Godzilla's mom is also Martha.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
But like you said, Matt, I think to break down overall, did I enjoy it? Yeah, I did actually. I would recommend people to go and see it because the action scenes are really good. Yeah, don't go for the storyline. Don't go for character development if that's your cup of tea.
Yeah.
The big stars that's in it, they don't really add anything to it other than that they're just there. But the actual film itself, I thought was a really good one. What would you give it out for? Because obviously our new website, I think we've talked about it previously, but unthinkable.com is now live. So we stick up our reviews. One of the features I like the most that Cy built in for us is that we can both, I can fit in as many as I want, but we each have a star rating we can give, and then it gives an overall rating for the film, which is really cool. But then it'll also break down what the Aussie gave, what the Pom gave. So you can see that when we both did our Logan review. So we did a UK style one, and the Aussies obviously did theirs recorded, and it broke down everyone's ratings. So Nate, for website purposes, what would you give Kong out of 5 stars? And you can go points, but it's like 3.5, 4, 4.5. No, none of this 4.1 malarkey.
All right, then. Well, I will give it. Here's the problem. I think Logan was clearly the better movie, and it was a movie that I'd probably watch again over Kong. But as in the cinema, I probably had more fun watching Kong. Yes, but it's not a good movie, not as good, which doesn't make any sense. But don't worry. So I gave Logan 4.1, which got rounded down to 4. So I have to give Kong 3.7 and round it down to 3.5.
Okay, I'm with you on 3.5, mate. I think, for kind of, we've talked about why it's a lot of fun. Definitely go and see it. It's not a must see of this year, but it's definitely one to go and see. And like you said, I think experience it in the big screen.
Yeah,
instead of waiting for the DVD. Yeah, instead of waiting for the DVD to come out, I think on the big screen is definitely worth it. But yeah, a lot of fun. So, Kong, you get a 3.5 from Aussie The Pom.
Yeah, and I have been thinking of this a little bit. I've decided I can fix 2 movies at once. Right?
Okay,
so,
go.
Kong, the people in Kong were stupid. Piss them off.
Yeah.
And then we've got Suicide Squad. People in the movie were good, but the movie itself was not too good. So I'm going to get the Suicide Squad from Suicide Squad, and I'm going to put it in the Kong movie, and I'm going to let them just and I'm just going to get them to go clean some shop together. So yeah.
I like that. And then the Margot Robbie character can be the female that then Kong kind of falls in love with, isn't it? There, I can see it already.
Yeah, I think she's masterpiece.
Masterpiece done. Sign it up, Warner Brothers. Well, that's copyright of Aussie and the Pom show, so script's already in works. But so if anyone wants to pick that up, we're good to go with it.
Yeah.
But hey, look, that's our review of Kong. So obviously it's in the episode. We are going to just release the audio from this as well. So actually, if you just listen to the review, check out the rest of the show on the website as well. You can find that in the Pomcast section